Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of Gridiron Weekly. Episode I don't remember because I stopped counting last year. We can give you a little swag, just a guess. I'm guessing around 70. Let's go with 70. I like that. It's a good whole number. Let's go with that. I'm joined by some of the best analysts in the business. Despite what NFL Radio says, ESPN says, all those other junk, they're just junk. I mean, we're number one in Bolivia, which is they can't say that. So we'll ride on our laurels there. Number one in Bolivia, number one at UVA-wise, number one everywhere. It's unbelievable. And I'm joined by William, the A-Train Akins. William, how are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
And I'm joined by the man that once drowned so many threes that it was in the newspaper. It was unbelievable. We're going to forget the opponents. They may have had some sort of. We're not even going to talk about that because that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They couldn't hear him coming.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they couldn't call out the screen. No,
right, they couldn't call out the screen. Every time they went to use American Sign Language, he went around him and drained a three. I'm not saying it was abusive. We're just saying it happened. It is fact. It is lore. It is John, the 3-point specialist, for Stein on it. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Oh, doing well.
You could have used you last night, John.
Yeah. Last night. The first half, I'm like, I'm not watching anymore. UConn didn't have the horses to keep up with them, so they ran. They took it down to under 5 seconds every possession. It was terrible.
I found it weird that they're trying to go inside all night.
I know. I mean, that's Michigan's strength. Okay, let's just go. Try to get into the big guys in the tall trees. But we do digress because we're talking about American football. So normally we start with college football, but you know what? It is draft time, and we must prepare ourselves for draft. So what we're going to do today, we're going to continue with the divisions in the NFL, and we are going to talk about the AFC and NFC South. So without further ado, and not ado like French, but ado, I guess it is ado. Anyway, we're going to start off with the AFC South, right? Division last year was won by Jacksonville, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jaguars, who lost quite a bit in free agency. Don't know that they added a lot. They lost some key players. They lost their running back, which I thought was pretty big. He's out at the end. So I'm not really sure how they're going to replace him. I know they have Michelle Tootin from Virginia Tech, who they drafted in the fifth round last year. He's an all-around back, good out of the backfield, good kick returner, good running back. So we're going to look at them. They did draft Travis Hunter, so they're coming in this draft with no first-round pick because they believe they drafted a player who played two positions. But it didn't work out, but we all said it wasn't going to work out. I think in the future, he's going to be a defensive back with some trick plays on offense. What say you, John?
Well, they don't have a first-round pick, right? So they have a second, a couple thirds. They got some others, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Okay. I don't know, man. It's tough. This is a tough year not to have a first, but I will say we know what are the positions that are strong. Edge, rusher, I guess, is a strong one. Safety, running back too. So that's good for them. Maybe, there's a running back there. I don't know. I mean, to me, I think if I'm then I'm looking at defensive line. It's one way or the other. Defensive line, whether it's tackle, edge, either or. That's my pick for the Jaguars.
Now, they did pay Walker a whole bunch of money, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Their pick out of Georgia. I know they paid him, backed up the Brinkstruck a little bit and paid him. So, they did go and get Jacoby Myers, even though they lost De'Ami Brown. They had Jacoby Myers, so I think that's an upgrade for them. But you say defensive line. A lot of defensive linemen in there. In that draft. Going to be a lot, especially in the second round. You got some big boys out there. So I think that's a wise pick, for Jacksonville. Bill, what do you say about Jacksonville?
Well, lacking a first rounder after you made that trade in 2025 to get Travis Hunter, they don't have a pick until number 56. However, I've listened to some shows and heard some analysts talk, and a lot of them agree that they may be one of those teams that ends up trading up and going back to the first round, like maybe around 30, for like a defensive tackle. I mean, a lot of people have been hearing or have been, Peter Woods has been thrown out there as somebody that they may have, from Clemson, that somebody that they may have an interest in. They have a bad pass rush. When you look at it, I think they were like 27th in sacks last year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty bad. That interior pass rush for them is a major weakness, and one that I think that they can address in the draft. You need a little bit more outside rushers. You need somebody, that's a little bit better.
Billy, do you think Mesidor will still be there in the back half of the draft from Miami?
Possibly.
So you identified two.
Howdy, boys, Samuel Dean, and then even to the Jersey hater. I don't hate them totally. I mean, it's got a girl on me. It's I'm still pulling for your Titans there, Sammy.
The Titans.
I just wouldn't have went to that. I don't know, but it is what it is. It'll grow on me.
Billy, you identified two players, Mesidor and the kid out of Clemson. Do you think there's anything else they would look for?
Well, I think you need an edge rusher. I think you need, you're putting a lot of pressure on Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen. So I think you might want to, somebody that would take the pressure off those guys. Not that they can't handle that, but this day and age, it's always good to have a surplus of edge rushers.
Yeah, totally agree.
I'll be in Pittsburgh for the draft. Sam, we gotta get together, brother. So,
really, he's gonna be here for the draft.
Yeah, right? We'll definitely. Yeah, hell, we might, if you're up for it, we might even do a show. We could even do that. Well, more to follow on that. That'd be great. But so
that'd be very cool. Coming in for the draft. All right.
And you got to look at it too. They may need a linebacker. You lost Devin Lloyd in free agency, so that they might be another. That might be another spot where they might want to look at.
I think there's a lot of linebackers in this draft too. I don't know what you boys think, but
yeah,
to me, I think there's a lot of linebackers.
Yeah,
in this draft. So it looks like defensive line that you guys are pretty much agree on that. We'll see when you settle in your final picks coming in 2 weeks. All right, so we're going to move very graciously on to the Houston Texans. Bill, we're going to start with you. I got a question for you before you even get into it. I want to know this question. You are the GM, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you extending – it's time. Are you extending the fifth-year option to C.J. Stroud? The number is $25,904. $25,904. Got to be decided first of May.
I mean, judging what I saw last year, I would have to say no. Wow. He was terrible. He was terrible in the playoffs. He was terrible. Well, I mean, he was really not. He wasn't that good in the regular season either. I mean, he was he was more of a liability than an asset, I would say. I mean, here's the problem with them. Very strong defense, smothering defense. And I'm not gonna say everything was his fault last year, CJ Stroud, because the interior offensive line was terrible last year. But you got to protect the guy, but he was aside from that, he still was terrible. So no, I would not extend that option.
And one more before you go into the analyzation of the Texans. Do you extend Will Anderson? His number is 21,512. $21,512,000.
I'd be inclined to extend him. I would extend him before I extend CJ Stroud, because CJ Stroud has digressed. So
fascinating. I totally agree.
All Stroud had to do was not play hero ball. He couldn't do it. Exactly. I agree. He tried to play hero ball, and it blew up in his face each and every time.
Yep.
Awesome.
Detroit.
Glad to have you, Stan. Yeah.
All right, Billy, go ahead. Talk to us about the Falcons.
Well, I talked about that defense and how they were just a stifling defense last year. Well, here's the thing with them, though. They lost a significant depth in free agency, and primarily in defensive tackles. So you're probably going to need a disruptive three-technique guy to pair with Will Anderson. That's going to be a given because you lost them. I mean, I'm just, looking at probably somebody like a, I don't know. I don't even have anybody right off the top of my head, but like I said, you're going to need a 3 technique guy to pair with Will Anderson, because you lost that last year in free agency, so you're going to need to replace that. Talking about offensive line, I said, hey, he was running for his life a lot last year, no doubt about that. But how about a guy like Blake Miller?
Yeah.
How about a guy like him? He I think would if you're looking for a decent lineman, I think, hey, you got a good one in that guy. So, I think you might even add a tight end with that to them. I know Dalton Schultz remains in there, but I would add a tight end that's maybe a little bit more athletic. It's in
perhaps a Kenyon Sadiq if he's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't have any problems with those at all. All right, John, get in there, buddy. Thoughts on the Texans, and you can weigh in on the 5th-year options as well.
So I can give him the 5th-year option. So he's coming up for that 1-year option, right?
Correct.
This is what. All right. So I'm going to give him the 1 year. I'm going to at least give him the year. I got to give him the year. Somehow I got to straighten him out, because if I don't, what a mess I'm in.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to give him the year and see what he can do, because all they needed was mediocre quarterback play, and they would have probably went to the AFC Championship. Who knows?
And he ended up having, 8-9 turnovers in 2 games?
It's absolutely terrible. And I understand what Bill's saying, because I would only do it because I don't know what else to do. I guess that would be, and you know what? I'd be a terrible GM then, Bill. And I would be, because I'd be panicking and like, oh shit, I don't know what to do.
I mean, I'm just looking at what he did in the play. He gifted teams. He gifted them. Steelers. I mean, God, he did everything in his power to help the Steelers win. I mean, he did everything that he could. He pushed as far as he could go with the turnovers to help the Steelers win. And they still ended up winning, but he was very generous in playoff games. He gifted these opponents a lot of turnovers time and time again. And I don't like that from a guy. He had a bad year last year. He had a great year his rookie season, but there's been 2 years in a row where he has not gotten the job done. And I agree with Sam. All he had to do was not try and play hero ball, but he did that. He did that, and it blew up in his face. It totally backfired, and not just a few times, many times.
Yep.
They need to figure it out over there. I'm surprised. I don't know, man. It's a huge year, obviously, because the defense is good enough, and that offense is just terrible. So that, to me, makes me feel like I should be looking. I don't know why I've seen every mock draft shows them taking a defensive tackle. Now, I get it, because you probably get McDonald, maybe the guy from Ohio State or something down there, McDonald or whatever. But I'm thinking offense for them. Whether it's offensive line or some kind of a position, I don't know, maybe a wide receiver, something. They need some help. The offense is terrible. And it feels to me like I'd want to take some offense in this draft if I was Houston. But that's just my thought. But every mock I see has them kind of taking a defensive tackle. So they know more than me, but that offense is bad.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I would think – listen, I think there was a lot of things that went wrong offensively for the Houston Texans last year. Like I said, C.J. Stroud didn't do them any favors by some of the boneheaded turnovers that he did time and time again. And I want to say another thing, too, and I don't mean to hijack your
That's all right.
But, losing Joe Mixon last year was big for them.
Huge.
It was big for them. And that's and you saw that game in and game out that they didn't have him. You saw it was big because they didn't have anybody that was able to replace his production at all. And that was an issue for them.
Yep.
Yeah. And if Sadiq is there, I think they should do it. I would take him and I'd run as fast as I could. I think that'd be I think that'd be good for them. But I don't know if
John, I agree, man. What do you do? Like you can't not like the whole idea that's put in there. It's a placeholder basically, but you're going to have to give $25 million on an unknown basically. It's wild. It's wild that they've come to this point. Heading into his fourth year, and Bill, you're right. Each year he has regressed. He has not progressed.
Yeah. This is the Ohio State problem, though, with the quarterbacks in there.
It is.
When they drop back to pass at Ohio State, look, I'm not going to go through all the names, but the wide receivers are incredible that were there. Sometimes, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a backup. He's sitting. And then a great offensive line. It's nothing but drop back. I don't get touched and fire it downfield, Yeah. So that just doesn't work here. And CJ, to tell you the truth, I didn't think he was going to be good in the NFL. And then I was stunned, his first year.
Yeah.
And
now now it's what I thought for me.
He's on the glide path of, I hate to say it, Justin Fields.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
I hate to say that, though, but that's the glide path he's on. I mean, he's just not performing at all. I mean, another indication of Ohio State, to your point about the quarterbacks, Dwayne Haskins threw 52 touchdowns in that, God rest his soul, but he threw 52, and they were wide open. That's why I never thought he was going to be a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I digress. We're moving now so smoothly. We're going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts. And first thing you have to do when you talk about the Colts, Sean, is give me an update on what do you think about Indiana Jones?
Well, you had to do it, I guess, for them. I guess you kind of had to do it.
That's another unknown, though, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Indy's not well run. They're just not. And they haven't been. And they're keeping the tradition alive right now. Yeah. But, I mean, I guess you kind of. I thought Pierce was too much. Right. I was stunned with how much that guy got. And it really has proven and shown nothing. But there he is, Alec Pierce.
And here's a joke, right? And this is just a joke. They have the option of picking up the fifth-year option on Anthony Richardson to the tune of $22.3 million. They're not going to do it, right?
No, that guy.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I don't know what he's going to be doing. But I'll tell you, looking at the Colts, they don't have a first-round pick. They got 7. They got a second, a third, a fourth, fifth, sixth, a couple sevenths. I mean, what are they doing? I don't know. I haven't even. What's their biggest need? As I'm looking at that, I'm trying to think.
I'm with you. I'm still shocked that Alec Pierce got all that money. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they probably don't need. I probably don't go on the offensive side of the ball, so I probably go to the defensive side, and I'm going for unless there's corner issues that I'm not aware of over there that I'm not thinking of. Yeah, I'm probably going to the line again. We talked about this last week. When all else fails, pick a lineman, either side, and you should be good. But
so that's what both of those offensive and defensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the mocks that I've been seeing, they've been mocking a lot of linebackers too. And the one I'm reading now is Anthony Hill out of Texas at pick 47 because they don't have the number 1. But I think you're right. You can never go wrong with a big old lineman on either side of the ball.
I mean, Anthony Hill would be good. If they could get him, I think that would be really good. I think that would be I like him. So I think that'd be almost like a steal or something. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, Billy, your turn. You giving Anthony Richardson a extension?
No, not at all. Not at all. Here's another. Indy does not have another first-round selection. I've heard they're expected to look at centers. That's one area they projected to look at. What is that? The Connor Lew, I believe.
Yeah.
That could be somebody. You trade. There's another one. You traded for Sauce Gardner, so that eliminated your first round pick. They're another team that has some edge rusher issues. You lost Pay, you lost Abukum. Yep. You're going to have to replace those guys. You lost Jared Franklin to trade. That's kind of left a void in the middle of that defense. Yep. So that's an issue. You traded away Michael Pittman Jr. to my Steelers, and now you're going to probably have to go out and get a new primary threat, perimeter threat, that is. So yeah, they've got a lot of issues.
And they got a quarterback coming off an Achilles.
And they've got a quarterback coming off an Achilles. Yeah, and we know how that is.
Yep.
You know, the year after that injury, it's not good. So, it's going to be a down year for the Colts, I believe. I mean, I think that they'll probably be right around like, I don't know, maybe
we'll do that at the end of the division.
Okay.
What we think. But yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. I just think that it's going to be kind of a nightmare there because they lost so many. They gave so much money to the primary receiver and Pierce, which I think he's a good receiver. I don't think he's that kind of money good though.
Right.
No, I don't either.
I don't either. But I don't think he's that kind of money good. Right. But I mean that leaves us to just one team that's left in the division, and we'll start off with we're back to Billy. Billy, their fifth-year option is Peter Skoronski, lineman out of Northwestern. His number is 19, a little over 19 million, 19 million 70. What do you think? I would probably give it to him because I think he's good.
I would give it to him. Sure, definitely. I would definitely give it to him. No doubt about that. So,
but talk to us about the Titans. You love their jersey. We know that.
Like I said, it'll grow on me. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they look in it. I mean, I'm all
games.
Yeah, the baby blue I do like. So, yeah. But I kind of wanted them to would have been nice to kind of have your continue with having your kind of own your identity, not go back to Houston Oiler days. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna hit them too hard on that. No, I mean, you got the number 4 overall pick. They're in a prime position to address a lot of their, biggest holes in their roster. I think definitely you need a wideout. You need a long-term number 1 target for Cam Ward. He just didn't have that last year, and you definitely need to shore that up. You need to start surrounding him with some talent. I think as well you need to look at edge rushers. I know I say that on, I said that on all these, but they had a lot. They did not have a very strong defense last year, especially at the edge. I think if I'm looking at somebody, I'm looking at David Bailey. I'm looking at him as being my number 1 target there. I mean, Jeremiah Love, another guy.
Yeah.
That I would consider.
I think that's a luxury pick for them, though, don't you?
Yeah, it might be.
They have a lot of needs, especially on the O-line and D-line. That, to me, that's a luxury.
And, last year I said it all year, but, Cam Ward got killed.
Yeah.
He got killed last year,
Yeah,
you had a line that allowed a league high of 55 sacks. And, you just can't allow that. You just can't allow that. He got killed last year. And, if you're expecting to, move the needle this year, which I think they will, you gotta do something there. I mean, I think if you're really looking at it, you're kind of split in the middle between adding defensive firepower and some explosive offense, even a running back. I think they need some elite backfield support as well. But I think Robert Saleh, defensive-minded guy, I think he's gonna do well at filling some gaps in the defense. So
very cool. All right, John, you're up.
It fits me. I think my whole goal in this is I want to help my quarterback, the young quarterback. So I want to take offensive. I'd probably take a tackle here. I'd probably go with the guy from Miami and just take him because what Bill said is right. I mean, he was running for his life. He got knocked out. He got hurt. He got all this kind of stuff. So to me, the tackle seems too easy as a pick. I would just take the tackle because you need them. You signed a lot of defensive players in free agency, and I mean, Sonny Styles, I think of. I mean, it would be a nice one for them, I think, with the speed and all that. But I think they should just get a tackle. You want to do everything you can, and like Bill was saying, wide receiver somewhere down the road. I think to protect him, you got to make this guy be your guy. You don't want to get in that situation where you don't know what to do in year 5 or year 4. That is a horrible situation to be in as it has to be as a franchise. It's terrible. You're at year 3 and you're thinking to yourself, this guy doesn't have it. So now, you can't do that. You got to make sure you give him a fair shake. So I'm going offensive tackle here. Miami's tackle. I can't say his name.
Moaga.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so now we're at the part. We've gone through every team in this division. Now we look at it last year that finished Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee. Billy, you're up first. Give me the order this year.
Say that again. I'm sorry. You broke up. I'm sorry.
Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee.
You say the first part. I missed the first part. I got that part.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Give us the order that you think it'll be 2026.
Oh, okay. The order. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. You're coming in a little bit choppy there. Oh boy, I think, I think Jacksonville's going to be number 1 again. I just do. I'm going to say. I'm gonna say the Titans are number 2, and I'm gonna go with. And I think they're gonna improve. I think I think you've got better coaching. In Saleh, I think it's going to be a different team. I think this could be the year Cam Ward, providing they get him some protection. Like I said, I would love to see Jeremiah Love in the backfield with them. I think he would solve their backfield issues. And I would like to see some good wideouts there. And I think if they can shore up that offensive line, I would. There's no reason why they couldn't be number 2 in the division. And then third, I'm going to go with the Indy Colts. I think that they're going to be maybe a 500, maybe even a game above 500 team. And then last, I think the Houston Texans are going to take a step back. I really do. I think they've lost a lot. Especially on defense, a defense that kind of carried them last year. They don't have that this year unless they drastically load up in the draft and free agency. I think they're going to be last in that division.
I like that. John, go ahead.
Yeah, weak division, right? I think it's pretty weak. I think Jacksonville is number 1 in this division. I think maybe Cohen has unlocked something. We'll see if Trevor Lawrence can go to another level. I like Jacksonville in here. I'll still keep Houston at 2 with the Titans 3 and the Colts 4, but everyone's going to be like around 500 or worse is my guess.
I think it's Jacksonville, and then it doesn't really matter after that because I don't think they're going to get 2 playoff teams this year. I think you guys are right. I think every one of them. I think with Salah, Billy, you're right. He comes in and he does a great job. And I think it's just going to be Texans. I give the edge to Texans. Their defense is decent.
Yeah, I'm just looking from my standpoint why I picked the Texans too. If I could just explain myself real quick, I think Cam Ward. When you look at it, I think he's better than C.J. Stroud, and I think Daniel Jones coming off that Achilles, I don't think he's going to be. I think he's going to have some issues, and so I think that's your best. That's your best. That's your second best quarterback in that division, and I just think that they're kind of. I would say they're on the upper trajectory. The Titans. I like what they've done in the offseason, and I think they're going to be. They're high enough picked. They have high enough picks that I think they're going to address some of these things.
Billy, I think you're right. I know we don't have faith in C.J. Stroud, but I think their defense is still stout. That's the only reason I give them the edge. But you're right. It could be they could make a turnaround. They're going to have an easier schedule. They're going to have a coach who understands the defense.
Right.
I think you could be right. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to go to the NFC South. We're going to start with William. William, do you give the 5th-year option as the team that won the division is Carolina, even though 3 teams finished at 8 and 9 and 1 at 6. So nobody was over 500 in this division. So, Billy, Bryce Young, same number for his 5th-year option, 25,904. Pick it up, yes or no?
I mean, he was a little bit injury riddled last year, but he did play well. He did play well down the stretch. and he improved drastically. He was one of the most shocking reclamation projects, if you will, last year. So I would give him the 5th-year option.
Cool.
So,
and what do you think these Carolina Panthers need to do in the draft?
Well, they have some issues at linebacker they need to address, and they have some secondary issues that they need to address. And I think that those two are their top priorities. I think I think also offensive line. I also would look at with them. I think they need to shore that up.
We're picking 19th in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think secondary linebacking and I think offensive line should be their main what they should focus on.
Did you like their 2 pickups? They got Jalen Phillips at edge, and they got Lloyd from Jacksonville at linebacker.
Well, yeah, and that's another team that they ranked dead last in pressure rate last year. So they're got to prioritize the pass rush, and that is a good step in the right direction.
Yeah. All right, John, you're up, buddy.
Well, I'm gonna say with the 19th pick, I would probably go with a offensive tackle, or guard. Well, offensive line, best one available. I want to do that because Young, they need to protect him. They didn't, and I think you got to do that. I mean, you got to pick up the option. And again, I'm still need to know more about him, right? Because last year was a good year, but you had him running for his life a lot. And I think I'm taking a tackle, best one available.
Are you picking up his option?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. Yes, I'm going to pick up the year and see what happens. I think he might have earned it last year. Just because he did well, and we'll see. I have my doubts, but I'd at least give him the year.
And that's hard to argue because otherwise you have nothing.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, it's very difficult. The same thing with Stroud. I mean, otherwise you have nothing. So it's difficult. So all right, we're going to keep the train rolling. John, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let me see who they have to give they have Kalijah Cansey. His number would be $14.475 million for a 5th-year option. He was pretty heralded coming out of Pitt, sort of like a Aaron Donald type. Not sure that he did so much yet because they have Vita Vea. You picking up that option? What do you think?
What's the option? How much you say? 14?
Yeah, 14.475. He hasn't really done much. He's on the basic option. You have basic, playtime, Pro Bowl, and multiple Pro Bowl. He's not really done that much. He's the basic 5th-year option. Yeah,
no, I wouldn't. I'd have to let him go away. I don't think I'm taking it. No. With him not doing much, then what's the point? I can find someone else. So I'd probably walk away from him. Yeah. And but with the Buccaneers, I mean how you can't continue to let Baker Mayfield get beaten up like that. I mean, the amount of injuries. After reading what was said on a podcast, I think it was David, the line for them. He had everything, every single injury you could think of, he was dealing with, and they got to protect him. They got to figure out a way to protect him, and then you wonder if they're going to need weapons too for him, right? Because they lose Evans. I mean, they still who do they have? Why am I forgetting? Who's the wide receivers over there now that Evans is gone?
Neka Abuka.
That's right. Okay, you got him.
Chris Godwin. And they have the other kid from Oregon, the smaller one. I think wide receiver for them is set. And then they picked up Kenneth Gainwell, who can play slot.
What about a tight end? What about my guy Sadiq? I don't know, a tight end, something to help Baker. Baker needs help. He's going to get murdered. He's not going to make it through the season. So they probably need a little more. They need defensive help too. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm probably looking edge rusher, but somewhere down the road here, I got to figure out and what is wrong with my offensive line and see if I can fix it, because he cannot continue to get hit like that. Now, I know some of it's on him. There's no doubt, because he holds the ball. He's always has. And, he tries to do a little more than he should. Talk about trying to do hero stuff. He does that. And he pays the price a lot of times. A lot of times it works, though. But
I was going to say, a lot of times it works for him.
Yeah, it works. So I'm gonna go edge rusher at 15, but I also like a little bit the tight end Sadiq. I wouldn't mind to see him get a real good weapon like him.
Yeah. I mean, no argument there. Go ahead, Billy.
You picking up the option? I mean, I agree. What?
You picking up the option for Kalijah Clancy?
Yeah, I am.
Really?
Really? Yeah, really.
Why?
Because I think he's good. I think he's, I think he's worth it. He had decent production last year. He wasn't, I think he do. I agree. He's not an Aaron Donald, but he's pretty damn good. So I think you do pick it up. I agree with John. I like tight end Kenyon Sadiq with Oregon if he's there. I think they probably ought to take him to replace what you lost with Mike Evans. He was very productive at Oregon, decent size. John talked about edge rushers. I totally agree. I think they had to look at Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M. That would be somebody I would target if I was them. If you don't get him, I would look at maybe Keldrick Falk from Auburn. He's another one that I think that they could, that they could pick up, and he could do some good things for them. So
they also have Cade Otton at tight end. State, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't argue with what you guys said. I'm looking at the mocks while you guys were analyzing, and they have a couple of them had them taking that guard out of Penn State, Ovea Ione. So he's a beast, an absolute beast. So I could see them doing that, but all the other ones are great. I could see the edge. I could see Kenyon Sadiq. I could see it all.
I'll tell you something too. They might want to look at a linebacker because Lamonte David's 37. He's near. Retired. He did retire. Yeah, that's right. He did retire. Yeah. That
just strengthens your point,
right?
I just don't think there's a linebacker that because I think after Styles is gone, there's not really a linebacker worth noting in the first round. So everyone need an ER this offseason. Yeah.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah.
Who knows what she's talking about, folks?
Yeah.
She deals with the 3-point artist all day. Keep going, Billy.
Yeah. What? Keep going. What?
Are you done with that analyzation of the Buccaneers?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, edge rusher, tight end, linebacker, offensive line.
All right. I like that, William. All right. Now we're moving on. William, you're going to take us to the Hotlanta Falcons. Billy, are you picking up the fifth-year option at $11.323 million for Bijan Robinson?
I am.
Yeah, that's good.
I am. I mean, why would you not? I mean, when you see his production and what he's done, why would you not?
Yeah.
Hey, you're entering draft. You're entering the draft under new leadership with Ian Cunningham at the GM helm, and Kevin Stefanski at the head coaching helm. For me, looking at what Atlanta did run defense wise last year, their primary objective going in here, and what you want to address is being able to stop the run, which you're going to have to, you're going to have to replace Caden Ellis and David Automata. I can never pronounce Automata. I can never pronounce his name.
David. We'll go with David.
Yeah, but I think you probably need to actually add a number 2 wideout as well to complement Drake London. I think
they don't have a first rounder. They pick at 48.
Yeah. Right. Well, maybe you trade up. Maybe you trade up. 48's not too bad, but it's better than what it's better than like who would we talk about the first Jacksonville was like 56. So 48's not too bad, but
yeah.
So, and I mean, I'll tell you what, you've got some aging tackles too that you might want to, address that. So,
the mock that I'm looking at has him taking Bernard, wide receiver out of Alabama.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, it's an interesting pick. But Billy, I think you hit it smart on all those points. They could use one of those players at every position. You're right.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, John, you're up, buddy. You picking up the 5th year option on Bijan Mustard?
Definitely. Yes. Yep. For sure. Definitely. This team is bad, right? So they don't have many draft picks. They have terrible quarterbacks. You got to lose. But you as a GM, the coaches, those guys aren't going to want to lose on the field. But you as the GM got to help them lose. So I'm going to take the best guys available, maybe get an offensive line in there to help so Tua doesn't get really hurt, because that'd be a terrible thing to see. Penix is always close to getting hurt too. Yeah. We're really in trouble. I feel sorry for Bijan Robinson. They should pay him a lot because he's going to get beat up this year.
What about trading him?
Trading who? Bijan?
Yeah, getting some more assets, because you're right. I mean, they have 2 quarterbacks that might as well start on MASH, right? Between the two of them, the number of injuries they have is outrageous to be starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So if I have a prize piece like Bijan Robinson, who's one of the top 5 backs in the NFL right now, I'm looking to move him.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Atlanta's just it's just bad. They got to be getting ready for next year. They have nothing. They don't have much money. They don't have many picks. They only have 5. They have They have it set up perfectly to lose, to not win many games this year, to be under 5 wins. All right, they set it up. I feel like they've set this up. They're doing it. Good for them. Tank and go down the tubes. And next year you come back. Maybe there's a quarterback. Now you get another quarterback, because Penix was a mistake. So that's all I'm saying with them. I'm going offensive line. I want to help to not let Tua, because I don't like watching Tua play, because if he gets hit, I always feel like I'm going to see something I don't want to see. So I don't even want to watch him, and I would just make sure he doesn't get hurt. That'd be my sole purpose this season, because otherwise I want to lose. GM wants to lose. Coaches and players always want to win, but I got to make sure that they can't. You know what I mean? I can't give them too many toys, or else you might win it more than I want you to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think about, go ahead, Billy.
No, I mean, do you really think that they're in better shape than what they were quarterback wise? Because I don't. I don't. I mean, getting rid of Kirk Cousins, and I don't think they're in a better shape at quarterback. I really don't. You've got Penix, like you said, that's always hurt, and a guy who shows some streaks of brilliance, but then for every 2 streaks of brilliance is 3 things where you're shaking your head as to what the hell's going on with him. Tua, I mean, he's, like I agree with John. Like he probably shouldn't even be playing at this point in time, and I just don't think they're not in a better. Yeah, Kevin Stefanski. I mean, say what you want to say, but I mean, he's not walking into. I don't think necessarily maybe he's walking into a better situation. I think ownership wise with Arthur Blank and everything like that. But I don't know that right off the bat if he's walking into a team that's going to be ready to win. I don't know.
That's a good point, Bill, because he has to know. He has to be a part of this. He must know about that we're not going to be good. Somewhere in his mind, he must know, because when they hire him,
he's used to it.
Yeah, and he has to know this is this is a tank year. This is a year we're just not going to be that good. He keeps coaching. He does everything he does, but he had to know. So that was a good point, Bill. Really good point.
Yeah, I think I don't know who stops Tua from playing, really. As cringe as it is to watch him play and fear for his life.
Well, I think unfortunately, I think it's going to take medical profession stopping him.
What kills me is what's he done on the field other than like we saw last year. I mean, it's not like we need to get him in. Like, I can't believe anyone really needs him at this point. So,
he had a lot of accuracy issues last year, big time. I mean, there was a lot. He was not on his game last year, and really, I don't think he's been on since he's had those series of injuries. There's been a lot of things that he's done that have not been. I don't know. Last year, some of his reads and just the things going through his progressions and he's. I don't know, overthrowing guys, underthrowing guys, and I don't know. not on the same page with pretty much everybody that that's out there.
I think it hurt him a lot to lose Tyreek Hill. Really?
Oh, undoubtedly. I
he was so
agree
valuable
with
at clearing the field and forcing one-on-ones everywhere. It was an easy reads for Tua. Easy.
Yeah.
I think that's really. But I mean, God forbid. I would never want to see anybody seriously injured, but he's headed down that path if he doesn't stop playing. I mean, Luke Kuechly finally got it in his head to stop. To stop playing. Now he's going to be in a lot of pain. But I mean, what other reason, John, would they have for having those two quarterbacks?
Yeah, other than to be losing.
Yeah,
to lose. That's it.
And then for Manning or the kid from Oregon.
And if they're smart, hopefully they are a good organization. We'll see. Because Stefanski's got, like Bill said, got to be in on it. He's got to know that this year is a big year for them because they need a quarterback. And next year, I guess they're better quarterbacks than this year. So
it's also run by Matt Ryan, who in himself was the quarterback that saved Atlanta. So if he understands it, hopefully they understand. But I'm with you guys. That is a mass unit at quarterback. There's so many injuries. One guy has 3 torn ACLs, right? The other guy has, I don't even know how many concussions, right? He doesn't know. So
that one concussion he got when he hit DeMar Hamlin's arm was unbelievable because he didn't just get a concussion. He just got laid out. I mean, to the point. And he didn't even get hit. So I don't know.
No,
it's got to stop.
It's got to stop. All right, Billy. Our next team we're going to talk about the New Orleans Saints. Billy, they have a player out of Clemson, Brian Brisset, who has a 5th-year option of $13.931 million. I think with the departure of their Jordan at end, I think they're inclined to pick that up or no, Bill?
Yeah, I think they are. And that just for the very reason what you said, that's a no-brainer for me.
So go ahead, Billy. What is this team?
You need another big body wide receiver, I think, to pair with Olave. I think that's number one, something that you just listen. I think, Tyler Shaw. I think Shuck is going to be pretty decent, and I think Spencer Rattler is a decent backup as well. Here comes again, bolster in the pass rush.
Yeah,
every team needs an edge rusher. I think you got to look at that as well. You might want to even address that in the first round. And maybe prioritizing the offense more in free agency. I don't know. I mean, picking up a big body wideout. I don't know. I'd maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I would try to maybe get an edge rusher in the first round if you find one that's good.
Well, luckily they're picking at 8, so I think they're going to have the pick of the litter after. It depends on what Reese does. If Arvell Reese goes to the Jets, then and you'll still have David Bailey out there. You'll still have Reuben Bain. So, it'll be interesting because they pick at 8. So you figure Cleveland's not going to get one, right?
Yeah.
New York has 3 of them,
right?
Burns, and the kid they got from Penn State last year. So I think he might have a shot.
I like that Kristen Miller from Georgia. I like him. If I was them, I would look at him. I
don't think he's rated that high, though. I think they'll probably take a Bain or a Mesidor.
And, I was talking big body wideout. How about an Antonio Williams from Clemson?
Yeah.
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 How about Reuben Bain from Miami?
Yeah.
That's probably the number one guy I would look at.
No doubt.
So if I was them.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, John, you picking up that option for Brian Brisset?
Yeah, I'm going to pick it up. I should. I have to. Yeah, taking it. Yeah, I need an edge. So.
Yeah, what about? I mean, their offensive line seems okay. I mean, to Bill's point, they do need more weapons. I don't know how healthy Kamara is and if he's staying or what his contract situation is. So they have a decent tight end. They could probably use a few more weapons. They have some picks though. And it's deep wide receiver. Go ahead, John.
If Bain is there, I'm doing that. I'm picking him. Because I like the whole story with him. The people are doubting him now. The arm, whatever, short arms, all that other crap. That is great. Go ahead. Because if this guy should be angry, I like that. I would take him. I do like Carnell Tate. do. I'm a big fan. I'm a pretty big fan of his. I would take him there maybe for a big wide receiver. But if Reuben Bain is there, because now he's falling, right? It just seems like he's falling down. Maybe he just keeps falling. That'd be a perfect spot, I think, for the Saints to take him.
Yeah, good.
How about even a Mekhi Lemon out of USC?
Yeah, he's big. He's one of the best receivers in the draft. He'll be there.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll have their pick of wide receivers at 8.
Yeah.
You know, Tyson will be there from Arizona State. Lemon from USC will be there. Cardinal Tate's the odd one. I don't know if he'll be there. I don't know if Cleveland is smart enough to take a wide receiver. Right?
Well, yeah, you never know.
That's the wild card because I don't think the Giants aren't going to do them. They have Malik Neighbors. Maybe Tennessee takes him instead of Love, but I think you're clear to go. They'll have the pick of the wide receivers, I think, at 8.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, now's the time. We're going to see what you think the order is. I'm going to remind you of the order. Carolina won the division at 8-9 due to some tiebreakers. Tampa Bay was second at 8-9. Atlanta was third at 8-9. And bringing up the bottom half was the New Orleans Saints at 6-11. So, William, order.
Probably going to go Tampa as number 1. I think that they bounce back this year. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to go Carolina number 1. I'm going to go Tampa number 2. I'm going to go Atlanta 3, and I'm going to go New Orleans 4.
Because good change from William. John.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Tampa 1. I'll go with the Panthers 2, Saints 3, Falcons last.
Well, I tend to agree with you guys because I think they're only getting 1 out of this division anymore because the other divisions are just too strong. So I could see it. The battle for me at number 1 is Carolina and Tampa. The battle for last place is Atlanta and New Orleans. Wouldn't be surprised if it was Tampa first or Carolina first. Wouldn't be surprised if it was Atlanta last or New Orleans last. I think New Orleans might take a step forward. Tampa's definitely going to take a step backwards with those mash units at quarterback, unless they do something drastic like trade a star. But,
I still think New Orleans, though, is another year away from taking a step. I don't know. I still think they're maybe going to be a 7-win team, 7-10. I think they're going to be better than what they were, 6-11 last year. I think they're maybe 1 game better. That's just me. I mean,
that's why we pay you, bro. We pay you for your time.
Yeah. That's not bad. No, I was thinking about the Saints maybe having 8 wins, 7 wins like that too. I just think Atlanta has got to be under 5 is my guess. Going, it's got to be 4, 3 wins. They got to be terrible.
So we're looking at New Orleans. New Orleans is a +1 or +2. You guys are saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the 6, and I think you're right. I think Atlanta's -2 or 3. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tampa's maybe a +1.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd go 2 or 3 on Atlanta. I think maybe 1.
-2 or 3. You go only -1 on Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be. I mean,
minus.
I don't think they're going to be that. I don't think they're going to be that I don't think they're really going to take major steps back. I don't think they're going to be -3. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it's just a quarterback position. So
I mean, it just depends on what if Tua, it really depends on if he's able to stay upright, and a change of scenery. I think is good for guys, and it may be good for him. I don't know. And Kevin Stefanski's a damn good coach. I told you guys last year their coach was terrible. I told you that, guys. That I said, I said, he was, one of the reasons why, they were in the situation that they were in. And I said, look to him to get replaced. I thought he was going to get fired, last year during the season,
So I could see Carolina and Tampa at 9-8, and I could see Atlanta and New Orleans at 7-10.
Yeah. If Atlanta ends up in the bottom half of the draft, they should all be fired. And someone should pay the price if that team wins. If that team wins 8 wins, has 8 wins, then they're done. I hope they're happy with Penix as their quarterback or this other guy, Tua. I mean, to me, you set it up to lose. If they win, oh my goodness. And I mean win like you're saying, 7 wins. I mean, not really win, but win too much. You got to get in that top 10, top 5. Get in there. Don't screw around. But they're playing on the field. You can't. That's just fantasy stuff, making them lose. But
because I agree. I agree with you. I don't think they have a quarterback on their roster, starting quarterback. There's too many injury concerns with both of them. I mean, think about all those injuries. 3 torn ACLs. I mean, it's getting to the point of Frank Gore. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, I think we talked about Tampa. I think losing Mike Evans is going to be big for them.
Yeah, but he was out a lot last year, and they still came up with 8 wins.
Yeah, right.
And I think they added a nice piece in Kenneth Gainwell to pair with Bucky Irvin. I think they're going to be, and if they get some power in the guard position, or if they splash and get another toy for Baker, I think they're going to be okay.
I mean, he can ball. The second half of the season there was a lot of issues, and I think a lot of it was injury with him. But the first 7 games, he was balling out last year.
They were there.
Yeah, I mean, they were right there, and then it kind of fell.
Well,
the bottom kind of fell out.
Injury just bit him really hard.
Yeah,
I mean, it really, really did. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is your expert analysts talking about the needs of both the AFC and the NFC South and what they're going to do in the draft. So next week we have the last divisions are both the West, AFC and NFC West. I think the AFC West has so many teams, it's ridiculous. I think those are the best two divisions in football, I think. I don't know what you guys think, but I think those are the best 2. Because the NFC West put 3 in. The AFC West put 2 in, because Kansas City had a down year. Otherwise, it would have been 3-3. So I think they have the potential, those 2, to be pretty darn good. Can't wait to talk about them. Week after that, we're doing the NFL draft. We'll tell you about our scoring next week. It'll be fun, entertaining. It'll be written down and graded and ready for the Tuesday following the draft, which will be some more excitement. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it. Please watch some spring football. The UFL has not been bad. It's been fun. Join us tomorrow night for some specific local talk with the Pittsburgh Sports Show. It should be entertaining. Maybe we'll get into another brawl with a listener. That'll be fun. I have a present for him. I went and I found a Howard rookie card. So if he turns out to be good, I'm going to mail that to that gentleman and give him a rookie card for Mr. Howard. So anyway, great job, boys. Glad to have the team back, and lights out buttons.